welcome back to episode 6 of Kitchen Talk. Welcome. I think it's episode 6. I think I said this last week as well. I can't remember what numbers the episodes are until I actually go on to look at them. Could be 6, could be 7, could be 5. Who really knows? You'll notice that I was meant to have William Thompson here today, but due to unforeseen circumstances, he wasn't able to make it. So we're just me and you in the kitchen today. But don't worry, I do have a wide array of topics to talk about today, and we also have beer review. Beer review's back after the 1 week that we did it. Obviously, Kieran Franco was on last week, and I said to him, "Do you want to do the beer review?" But he drove down and was a bit hungover, so he passed on that. And I didn't want to sit drinking in the kitchen by myself like a weirdo, like I'm going to do today. I'm not. I'll just point out as well. This week we've got a fair test. Because Kieran came last week, I put the beers in the fridge. I put 2 beers in the fridge, and they've stayed there since. So I think the first week I did it, what was it called? A Slick Rick. The Slick Rick wasn't actually at the nicest temperature to be drinking an IPA. So this week, we've got Rebels Cologne. We'll get into it, but it's nice and cold. It's nice and cold for this week. But yes, I may as well plug some gigs, because I've got gigs coming out of the fucking wazoo here. I've got gigs coming out of my arse. I've taken what Shane Todd said to me personally, and I've approached many people, and by that I mean 2. But I have, out of those 2 people, I've got 3 gigs. So this podcast will probably be out on Sunday the 27th. On Tuesday the 29th, I'll be in Madden's, and then on Wednesday the 30th, I will be at the Spaniard performing in the Gong Show. If you don't know what a Gong Show is, it's basically audience members get like 3 audience members. It changes, everywhere does it differently, but audience members get like cards, and if they hold up a card, it means you get gonged and you have to fuck off the stage. I've done one on the Sunflower before and I came second, so hopefully we'll keep up the theme of doing well in the Gong Shows on Wednesday in the Spaniard. Also though, we're in the Spaniard again for the same Gong Show, different night, on the 7th of May the following week. So if you're a bit preoccupied this week, you've no excuses, because you're given a week's in advance, notice, whatever I'm trying to say there. So yes, Madden's, I think you can go on to RB Comedy Club's Instagram, and then the Spaniard is Crack. That's Crack as in CARIC, not freebase cocaine. Crack the Gong on Instagram as well for tickets there. Should be good crack, both of them. What else is there? Oh, yep, as always, until the 13th of June, I'll be promoting this every week. I am doing I'm not doing. There's a gig that I'm running in the Dallas Social Club. Tommy McCarthy, Kieran Franco, me, Daniel Houston, Adam Byrne, Ian Thompson, Johnny Bowe, Cara O'Hagan. I couldn't have put more people on the bill if I tried to. So tickets, as always, are in my bio as well on Glister. But if you just search up Glister Crack House Comedy, it should come up. Or if you're fucking 90 years of age, go into the Duns and buy a physical ticket. Hopefully by this point my dad has printed tickets out and left them behind the bar. If not, just give me a shout or send me a tenner, and I'll say to my ma's doing the door at it, so just say to me and I'll say to my ma, put you on the list, you'll be on the guest list for it, if you don't want to pay the booking fee, which I know a lot of people don't want to, because they're tight cunts. Sorry. But let's get into the podcast. What have I been up to this week? It was Easter break. I don't like people who say, did you have a good Easter? Because it's not a real holiday. Let's be honest here. It's not a real thing. Christmas, yeah, did you have a nice Christmas? Yeah, it was blocked fucking 7 days out of the whole holidays. You wouldn't go up to someone and say, did you have a good Halloween? Did you have a good Valentine's Day? It was a Tuesday. What the fuck? Did you have a good Pancake Day? I suppose so. Did you have a good Easter? Yeah, I was off work and I had chocolate. Ooh, yeah, it was good, obviously, but like, let's fucking tone it down a wee bit. Let's not take it so seriously. I also noticed, is it more of a Catholic or Protestant thing for Easter? Because I do remember whenever I was younger, I used to get Easter Monday clothes, and that was just to go get blocked on a beach or something. Do you know what I mean? That was just to get. I remember distinctly one year getting this black and red like Nike tracksuit jacket, and I think a pair of all black Air Max 90s for Easter Monday, and I literally just went to Helens Bay with a carry out and got blocked. It was great time. But I've noticed like a lot of Catholic people would have like full scale dinners on Easter Sunday. That's fucking nuts, to be honest. Full lamb dinner and all. I don't know if that's like a. Is it a Catholic Protestant thing? Maybe it's just a not my house thing. Do you know what I mean? It could be one of those things that we've never done a dinner on Easter. Like, we don't do Sunday dinners here. I think I've talked about this before. Fuck a Sunday dinner, to be honest with you. What else happened? It's nice getting the. So originally I thought I was getting the Friday and the Monday off work. Found out it was actually the Monday and Tuesday, and I was like, fuck's sake, I'd rather the Friday. But then, now saying this, when the Tuesday came around, was I not ecstatic to be off work? Fucking right I was. So there's some food for thought. Yeah, I'm just talking a little shite now about work. Let's get into the good stuff. Let's get into the beer review. So this week we have got Rebels Cologne. I'm going to try to show this to the camera as well as I can. Rebels Cologne. It's got a fella with a beard on it with missing teeth spraying aftershave into his eyes or his mouth or something. And it is a 5.2%. Woohoo! I think this is Dutch, apparently. Brewed and canned for people like us in the EU, imported to the UK by Beer 52. Yep. See base for details. I think that's when it was fucking introduced. I don't know what type of beer it is. It just says Rebels Cologne, Kolsch-ish. Kolsch-ish. Don't know what that means. If is Kolsch a type of beer? Any beer perverts out there, let me know. Its ingredients, like always: water, malt, barley, wheat, hops, yeast. Fuck all else. It's probably going to be absolutely disgusting. Now, I will say this before I tried. I did brush my teeth not long before doing the podcast, so I'm trying to, like, you might hear some disgusting noises coming out of my mouth here. I'm trying to get the toothpaste taste away by eating all the saliva in my mouth. That's probably the fattest thing I've ever said in my life. I'm trying to eat my own saliva. It's all for research purposes. I find, though, for some reason, whenever I'm doing this podcast, my mouth produces the most saliva out of anyone on earth. But whenever I do stand-up, I have the driest mouth in the world. Just a side note as well, if you ever see me at a gig bring a glass of water or like a pint up on stage, I will forget it. Just watch carefully. I'll forget it. I think I did it at No Joke the other week. Because I noticed, when I did the gig in Dublin, I noticed that my mouth was excessively dry, and I was like, this is hell on earth. I wish I brought a drink with me. And so when I did No Joke the following night, I brought a glass of water on stage with me. But my mouth stayed moist enough. It was fine. I don't know if it was the nerves or something of performing in Dublin, or I don't know, there must have been something in the room, something in the air that was drying my mouth out. Or maybe something in the room that was wetting my mouth out. I don't know. But there's a fun fact. If you ever see me do a gig, just watch carefully if I bring a drink on stage, because it's getting left at the top of the stage and not getting touched till the end of the night when someone comes around to clear it. So yeah, I don't know what this is. Again, maybe this is just the trend with all these cans. It's like the one we did the other week, that it's not imprinted on the can, it's like a sticker on the can. What I will say though is it seems to be a lot more, it seems to be like put on more better. Great use of words there, holy fuck. It seems to be put on with more precision than the Slick Rick. I think Slick Rick was the sticker was a bit lopsided on it. This one, it's a lot more even. It looks professionally done. I'll give you the description here. So, when the conditions seem stagnant, while the messes are acting synthetically uniform, even the slightest act of defiance gets noticed instantly. A scent is ever so haunting, the scent of non-compliance. No blood is spilled, a few drops of beer at worst, yet the essence pierces beyond the obvious. I can't remember what way I reviewed the beer the other week. I was actually talking to someone and they were like, I noticed when you were going to review the beer, you actually have no idea how to review beers, and that's true, I don't. This is just a funny little gag that we're going to do on the podcast. But I can't remember what I rated the beer. I remember I did the tin, I think I did the name, and then the taste of the beer. I'm going to give the tin a good, I quite like it, but it's a bit marked. I don't know if it's not as clean as I think it. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like someone's got, like, do you ever get when you have a pen in your pocket and you put your hand in your pocket and you get like wee bits of ink all over your hands? That's what it kind of looks like on this. And I don't know if it's done intentionally by the artiste or if it's, I don't know, done in transit or something. Not a big fan of it. I am a fan of the colours, and I am a fan of the sort of drawing of the guy spraying the aftershave into his face. I don't know what makes him a rebel, so they're gonna get marked down for that. I rated the name as well. Rebel's Cologne. It doesn't sound like something you should be drinking. Do you know what I mean? That to me tastes like it's gonna be, or it suggests that it's gonna taste like sweat. I don't know. It doesn't really give off the vibe of like Rebel's Cologne. I just think of like IRA. What aftershave were the IRA wearing in the 70s? You know what I mean? Fucking petrol, probably. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to fault that it is a nice looking can. Cool name. So I'll give the name a 7. I think I give Slick Rick an 8. If anyone wants to go and check, I'm not going to. I'm not going to make an Excel spreadsheet on all the fucking things I rated these beers. Yeah, I'll give the name a 7. I'll give the 10 probably a 7.5. It is quite cool. And let's get this Rebels Cologne, 5.2%. Not sure what type of beer it is. Let's get it cracked open. As always, here's a bit of ASMR for you. Hope that sounded good and didn't molest your ears. Bit of a sniff test. Will we go for it? Now, that's interesting. If I was to smell that, if you were to give me a pint of that and I put my nose to it at first, I would think that's just a normal beer. Oh, I've got a bit of foam on my nose, folks. Trying to think what it smells like. Maybe like I don't know, maybe like a Haverly or something. I'm not too sure. It smells familiar. Obviously it's not, because it's fucking, God knows where it's from. Holland, potentially. Let's give it a wee taste. Let's give it a wee taste. The Rebels Cologne, 5.2%. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Let's give it another one. So at first, now my facial expression is going to contradict what I'm about to say here. It is because I've brushed my teeth, so I'm getting a bit of a mixture of toothpaste and Rebels Cologne here. But at first, it's a very, very nice, familiar tasting beer, is what it is. Afterwards, I'm not loving the aftertaste, but again, I'm going to put that down to the toothpaste. It's pretty nice. Could I drink, 6 to 8 of them? I don't know. We'll have to find out, won't we? It doesn't taste. What I've found so far with these, now I have had a few off camera, not today, but previously. I have had a few before, and they don't overly taste like what IPAs I thought tasted like. Maybe it's my conception of what IPAs are that's throwing me off here, but it's not a bad beer. I mean, I'm going to give it a taste of a 5.5. I'll give it another taste just in case. No, do you know what? We'll give it a 6.5. I think I could drink that no problem. We'll see by the end of the podcast how much I've drank. But that's an alright beer. Rebels Cologne, 5.2%. I should probably do some research into these people in case I do like them. Not that they're gonna fucking pay me for advertising, but it would be good. Also, the fucking Beer 52 people. I don't know if I went into detail about this, about why I have these beers. If I have done it, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go into detail again about it. The beer's stuck in my mouth now. I'm gonna go into detail on why I have these fucking beers. I was buying boxers off Sports Direct, Lonsdale boxers specifically, and I know you're thinking, oh, you're Trump's Lonsdale boxers. They are the most comfortable boxers in the world. They are not by any means lookers. They're not your Calvin Kleins. You wouldn't be sending fucking dick pics in them, but by God, they are comfortable. You can wear any trousers with them, and there's no chafing at all. For the larger gentlemen, I highly recommend Lonsdale boxers. But anyway, at the end of the purchasing process, I did talk about this, didn't I? They fucking said to me they were giving me 52, or they were giving me a free case of beer. I got it, paid for delivery, tried to cancel. They offered me another one for a tenner with the delivery included in it. And then I got that one, and then I forgot about it. So then I got another one. They rang me the other day, and they were like, we just want to talk to you about Beer 52. And I was like, man, but I remember this has happened before, where they ring you to be like, what do you think of it? And you're like, well, I actually want to cancel it. And they're like, oh, we'll have to put you through to someone. And then you're on hold, and you're like, do you know what? I actually can't be bothered waiting in this queue to fucking cancel this order. So God knows when I'm going to end up with 8 more IPAs for about 25 quid. We'll just have to wait and see. But it means it gives us something to talk about in the podcast if there's nothing else to talk about. We'll go into now. I see what I don't like about this is I feel like I'm rushing into things. I don't give myself a minute to breathe. You know what I mean? What I might do is I might just start vaping in between takes, not in between takes, in between segments. So this is going to be the I'm gonna say ongoing traditional vape break that we're gonna have. If anyone listens to the Blind Boy podcast, he does an ocarina pause where he plays an ocarina and then there's ad breaks. This is like my ocarina pause. If you don't know what that is, I'm sorry. It's going to sound like absolute gibberish to you. What do we have this week? Yes, I keep seeing TikToks of girls going on holidays with their boyfriends, and it's like, oh, spend the day with me and see with my boyfriend. And there's a specific TikToker from here, country girl, I'm not going to name her. She actually has done nothing wrong. I just don't like her and her boyfriend. But she always does when she's on holiday, which is about 17 times a year, mind you. Always does TikToks being like, watch what my boyfriend eats in a day. And it's in a fucking all-inclusive in Tenerife. And you know what I mean? Let the guy live. I don't like him, but let the guy live. It's all-inclusive. The whole purpose is going there and eating and drinking as much as possible so that you get your money's worth. Do you know what I mean? There's no point going and being like, oh, I'm going to watch my weight on holiday. That's another thing. People who go to the gym or go for runs on holiday, you're a fucking cunt. There's no two ways about it. You're just an absolute ball bag. You're meant to go on holiday, and if you're going with your partner, you're meant to go on holiday, get blocked, ride, eat, get blocked again, ride again, repeat. That's all you're meant to do. Fair enough, throw in your wee fucking silly expeditions all you want, but if you're going up to run on holiday at like fucking 7 a.m, you need shot in the face. The only time you should be running on holiday is to the buffet line or to the pool to beat the Germans to get the sunbeds. They're the only two acceptable times. If you're like, oh, come on a 5k with me around Tenerife, come around a 5k on fucking Costa Adeje, shut up. You don't deserve to go on holiday. People over here are fucking working their holes off for 7 days a week in the sun. You're doing it 4 times a year, and you're wasting it by going for a fucking run. What's a holiday to you then? Do you know what I mean? Going to the gym? Give me a fucking break. No harm. It's just ridiculous. Ridiculous. And people are going to be like, oh, you can't tell people how to spend their holidays. Yeah, I can't. But I'll have a fucking opinion on it. And I'll voice my opinion to the 40 people that watch this podcast every week. And I know that they'll agree with me. But I've been sidetracked. I apologise. But the videos, it's this one girl in particular, and her boyfriend's about fucking 5'6". Not that there's anything wrong with that, by the way. And he eats like a fucking horse. And you know what? Fair play to him. Fair play, because that's what I would be doing as well. And it's like, see if I went on holiday with my girlfriend that doesn't exist, and she had a camera in my face every time I was up and down at the buffet, she's probably getting hit a dig to the jaw. I'm not going to lie. Fucking, oh, this is what Matthew had. I don't know why I call myself Matthew. I always call myself Denzi in the third person. Look at Denzi had fucking, 4 burgers, a pizza, a hot dog, a plate of chicken nuggets. What are you doing? I'm out here to enjoy myself. I don't need you fucking, showing my shame to the world. I'm here to fucking put on 2 stone at least. And you're fucking, you want a few views on TikTok? Get on my fucking site. Maybe that's why I don't have a bird. Maybe that's why. I just think it's very... You can only do it if you're going out with someone who's skinny. Do you know what I mean? If you did it with someone who's a bigger fella, it's going to look pretty bad. It's going to look like, look at my big, fat, disgusting pig boyfriend ate in holiday. Look, he had an ice cream. Oh my God, look at this big, fat shite. He's having another ice cream. Fast forward to dinner, this guy's having a fucking another ice cream. And it's like, if you were doing... It's okay to do it with a skinny person, because it's like, oh, everyone's commenting like, oh my God, I wish I had his metabolism. But God forbid, it's a heavier fella, and it's that guy needs the fucking... and the comments are always so nasty, like, that guy needs fucking shot. They need to give him a gastric band or something. So let the guy live. He's on holiday. I understand that I'm talking about things that I've seen, so maybe people haven't seen this sort of thing, and it might not be funny. Trust me, it is. Just take my word for it. It is funny. You wouldn't do it with a girl now. That's what you wouldn't fucking do. You wouldn't be getting your camera out and putting it in a girl's face. Look at my fat slut cow of a girlfriend had at the all-inclusive breakfast. An omelette and a hash brown. Fucking disgusting pig. Look at this absolute unit had for breakfast. You wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Girls can do it for themselves. They can do it for their skinny boyfriends. They can't do it for their heavier set boyfriends, and boyfriends can't do it to their girlfriends. That just seems to be the rule. I just think nobody should do it at all because it seems a bit fucking. I don't know. It's also like it's like flexing a wee bit. I don't know. Like, oh, we went to this all-inclusive hotel that you paid for by watching my TikToks. So look at everything. Restart to install the latest Windows updates. Sorry, folks. Joe Rogan doesn't have this problem, does he? We'll just snooze that. Yeah, it's like flexing, you know, here's a holiday I've paid for because you fucking morons have all watched my videos 10 times a day for a year. Do you know what I mean? Look at my boyfriend's going to eat in a whole day off your money. He's going to be a gluttonous mess thanks to your money. And then he's going to rub it in your face more by going for a fucking run. You want a holiday like this? So watch my videos. I can go on a holiday like this and I'm going to waste it by going on a fucking run. Yeah, give me a break. Give me a fucking break. I hate it. I remember going on a holiday once and two of my mates said they were going to the gym and I was like, I used some slurs, I'll be honest. I'm not going to repeat them. I used some slurs and I don't regret them. I stand by them, to be honest. I'm just not going to say them now. I just think it's it just sort of defeats the purpose of a holiday. Holiday to me is the opposite of work, and work to me is anything that you don't want to do that you have to do to live, and that is, suppose, going to the gym to an extent when you think about it. And by going to the gym on holiday, and also, you know, I think it's crazy. I can only go to one gym and one gym only. I won't tell you where it is because I don't want my fans to come take photos of me. Because you won't see me there anyway to begin with. I hope people laugh along whenever I laugh at my own jokes because it is funny. Otherwise I look like a psycho. But I go to a gym, and then one time this gym was under maintenance. They were getting fucking done up, and I went to, it's a chain of gyms, so I went to a different one, and this other one I went to, never been to before, it had recently been done up, and I went in. The first machine I walked over to, there was a touchscreen, and I don't know if the touchscreen was how you're meant to adjust the weights on it. Seems a bit too fucking high-tech for me. I freaked out and was like, went to a different machine. It was the exact same, and then I just thought, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm just leaving this gym. I'm never going to this gym again. And that's me. And so what I'm trying to say is, you know, you have some balls on you to fucking be going to a gym in a foreign country full of people you don't know with machines you might not know how to work. You know, it takes some balls. Speaking of balls, my work recently found out that I do stand-up. And when I say found out, I don't know if I do like that, to be honest. It's like all the fun's been taken out of a beer. No, don't think I'll drink the rest of that. Yeah, so my work found out that I do stand-up, and by saying that they found out, I mean that I told them, because they asked me why I was down in Dublin, and I told them. And there's one of the guys, I won't say his name, but he keeps asking me about comedy, and fair enough, they're showing an interest. For context, I'm like 10 years younger than the next person to me. And then after that, everyone else is like 20 years older than me. So they don't like football, so there's really not much fucking chat out of them, to tell you the truth. But one of them, he sort of asked me like, "Oh, any gigs?" And I says, "Well, yeah, I did one there the other week. I was on Shane Todd's podcast. Couldn't wait to get that one in. I'll not lie, could not wait to tell them." And so I said that, and then he just, every time he talks to me about stand up, he just goes, some balls on you. And I'm like, I wouldn't be talking about this if I hadn't noticed it multiple times. But it's like the only real thing he says about me doing stand-up. And he just keeps talking about my balls. And I'm like, mate, alright, relax. It's not that fucking, you know what I mean? I can see why you would think so. I do shit myself every time I do it. But like, please stop talking about my balls when you're doing it. Just, you know, just say, do you not shite yourself? You know, I have a few pints. Stop talking about my balls, please. But you know, at least I'm taking an interest in it, to be fair. Hope the fuck they never find this, so I'll tell you the truth. That'll be really embarrassing. By the how many minutes are we in? 25 minutes. Fucking hell, time flies when you're having fun. I can't see them making it this far in. But yes, we'll have a wee a traditional vape break while I read over my notes. So, sort of semi-related to the people eating on holiday, and this is just a brief one I want to talk about. I keep saying, and it is, I probably should have spoke about this the other week when I was talking about those carnivore cunts, but there's now people saying that you should only eat one meal a day, one big meal a day, and it's to do with your insulin levels spiking. And this is all stuff that's been scientifically disproven. Like, it is categorically, factual that you should eat 3 meals a day. You don't need to. You can maybe eat 2. You absolutely should not eat 1 meal a day. It's just been scientifically proven. Don't ask me where, by who, or why, anything like that, because I don't know. But it is, just take my word for it. Take the scientist word for it. I saw a TikTok, and it was this guy eating like 3 steaks, 6 eggs, a fucking full avocado, and then like all sorts of fruits. And they're always eating on cutting boards. Just get a fucking bigger plate. You don't need to eat like that. You know what I mean? And it is like, this is what I was saying about the other week when I was saying about we know too much about stuff. Well, people who aren't qualified to know about stuff or finding out things that aren't true, and it's just sort of, they're in like an echo chamber. And I have another echo chamber I want to talk about later on. And it's just fucking stupid. You don't need to eat 1 meal a day. You don't need to kill yourself just to look fucking good on TikTok. Just have a bowl of cereal, make a sandwich for your lunch, and then, I don't know, chili con carne or something for your dinner. Please, just fucking, can we just relax a wee bit about all this shit? Can we just stop? I'm doing Trump hands now. I'm getting that fucking, we gotta stop eating raw meats. I don't know if that was a good impression or not. Never done that impression before. Might have, actually, it sounded good to me, so we'll not do it again. So no one asked me to do it again. Yeah, just fucking relax with the stupid diet fads, and let's just go back to eating like fucking regular people. Do you know what I mean? Because the main point is, when they're talking about it, is, do you think cavemen were eating 3 meals a day? Obviously fucking not, because they were getting hunted by woolly mammoths and fucking saber-toothed tigers. You weren't sitting down to have your Weetabix when there was a fucking apex predator coming out of the forest to kill you and your children. You know what I mean? You're not fucking. We don't have that problems anymore. Things are made for you to eat now, and also your stomach and your body is completely different to a caveman. I would like, well, your brain probably the fucking same. You knuckle dragger. There's a callback from last week's episode. So just fucking, I don't know, have a bowl of Weetabix and fuck up. How about that? That was the side note. I had to get that out of my system. Here's a quick one for you as well. There was an ISIS recruiter who was arrested in England, and their name, not even joking, Nutella, space Nutella. And I think that's so funny, because I just imagine someone stoned in mods, and they're like, "What do you want in your crap?" And they're like, Nutella. And that's that's how that person got named. Maybe the dad was fucking just stoned out and thought that maybe they said something to him like, "Oh, what's your favourite flavour of ice cream?" He's like, Nutella. And they were like, "Wanted to know what you fucking wanted to name your child, you weirdo." So there's that one. Some other, if there's any other ones anyone can think of that are similar to Nutella, like pistachio or something, or banana. Any other ISIS recruiters you can think of with fucking stupid names like that? We're scraping the barrel here. I have the big thing I want to talk about. I don't know if I want to talk about it now. I will talk about it now. I haven't been recruited, but I sort of stumbled upon on Twitter this. It's like a group. I don't know what way Twitter works now, but it's like a group sort of like news feed called Incel Talk, and it's fucking hilarious. If you don't know what an incel is, it means involuntarily celibate. They were talking about it in that program Adolescence, which, if you ask me, load of shite. Not to sound like an absolute cinephile here, but the program is begging for cuts. It's, that all one take bollocks is good for a film and nothing else. Don't do a TV series, and it feels forced. I don't really see how it adds to that situation. The guy who directed Adolescence directed a film called Boiling Point with Stephen Graham in it, and it's set in a kitchen, and the head chef's very stressed. He's got like debts or something to pay off. I can't remember the plot, but it's a very high intense environment, and the whole one take sort of thing pays off well there, because that's the sort of environment that it's in. When you're sort of stretching the whole one take into like different locations, and you're following people about, and it just feels forced, and it's not very good. And I don't give a fuck about the message in Adolescence. I think it's it's very like, oh, the curtains were just blue sort of fucking mindset of like, oh, you don't need to think that deeper about things. I didn't really like it, but anyway, they were talking about in the incel movement in adolescence. But I've been fucking found out, or I've been found myself on incel talk on Twitter, and it is genuinely one of the funniest things I've ever seen. All these virgin men who are just raging, and it is quite scary because some of them do just outright hate women, which is mad. And they talk about it so openly, and it's like, it's a bit, and that's what I was saying about, it's an echo chamber where, you know, all these fucking weird sad virgins are all putting out these insane opinions all the time, and it's the only other people who are, you know, talking back to them or, you know, listening to them are other sad weird virgins. So it just sort of is like a big, it's like an echo chamber. That's the whole point of what an echo chamber is, basically. There's no other outside opinions coming in. Everyone's just spouting the same shite. It's like conspiracy theories. Like if you are into flat earth and you're constantly searching about flat earth all day, you're going to find evidence of flat earth, even though it's not true. But in Cell Talk, it's I keep seeing like all these. I've saved a treat. A treat. It is a treat. I copied a tweet that was on it, and it was one of the head fucking honchos of Incel Talk. He retweeted a video of just a good looking guy and a girl, and they're like, you know, they must have been like in the outside of a restaurant, and like she's lying on his knee and they're kissing. You know, it's public displays of affection, which I think is wrong to begin with, but you know, whatever floats your boat. I don't look at it and think, fuck, I want to kill those fucking people. But the guy retweeted it, and he says, I will never experience this, in brackets, true love, by the way, and I will never be grateful. Why? Because criminals, lowlifes, and pieces of shit will get this. I won't even be able to get a fraction of this. Be grateful. I can't even speak. Be grateful, bro. Hate all those blue-pilled gaslighters. And that's just a fucking insane way to look at something, and it's just fucking mental. Like looking at being like, I, you know, all these criminals are getting their hole and I'm not. Why? Why do criminals get their hole and I can't? Maybe because you're in your room talking about how much you hate women all day. Do you know how you get your hole? Stop hating women. And if you do hate women, try riding a fella, and then you'll fucking get your hole. Do you know what I mean? Have you maybe ever considered the fact that you might be gay, that you hate women so much? And there's another sort of recurring thing on it where people will put up pictures of themselves, and it's real fucking weird, to be honest. Some of it's sinister, like the people saying they hate women. Some of it's just batshit fucking insane. Like there'd be people who'll put up photos of themselves, like a selfie, and they'll be like, well, incels, do you think I'm doomed to never get the puss or something? Like they say real weird shit. And all the other incels will be like, yes, you're never gonna, you're ugly as fucking, like, like most normal men would be like, yeah, you're, you know what I mean, you'll find someone eventually, mate. But all these fucking other weirdos, it must be like a self-hatred, like sort of also like jealousy thing. But there was one guy, I don't know if he was like in the group to take the piss, but he was a good looking guy, and he put up a selfie, and he was like, you know, well incels, and then they call him a fake cell. So I don't know if it's like, there must be people in it who, like, I don't know, pretend like they're incels for some reason, or whether it's to take the piss out of them, or if it's like people who aren't true incels. Like, unless you need to be like to be a true incel is you need to you've never been anywhere near a woman. Like, you can't have, you know, you have to be like, it's like a pure blood Aryan fucking incel where you can't have breathed near a woman or something. But they'll call these people fake cells. And as soon as I saw it, it reminded me of like those videos you see of people in America, and it's like someone who isn't a soldier wearing like military uniform, and it's called stolen valor. And I immediately thought that this is like stolen valor of incels. Like, if you once maybe like kissed a bird and then decided you were going to be an incel for the rest of your life, they're like, no, you don't get to wear the badge. You didn't fight. You didn't serve. You're not a fucking true incel like us. And it was just so funny. And then the incel movement, they mentioned this again in that adolescence of there's some it's like a statistic that the incels have just made up, I think, or maybe like Jordan Peterson or something told them it, but it's like 80% of women are only attracted to 20% of men, and they're like, yeah, that's so true. But like, what does that actually mean? It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, are 20% of men really good looking? I don't know, probably. But it's fucking subjective. It's nothing to do with and there's obviously people who don't care about looks. Also, if you think about the population in the world, there's still tribes in some countries who just don't give a fuck about how you look. They just care about like how many goats and all you have. Do you know what I mean? It's not fucking. Where are we getting these figures from? 80% of women are only attracted to 20% of men. I don't think there's that many ugly men in the world. I'll be honest. It doesn't look well. Again, there's not that many ugly women either. Do you know what I mean? What's this 20% of women? So the 20% of women, are they attracted to the 80% of men that aren't attracted, or are those 20 and 80? Are they just incels themselves? My mouth is getting dry now. That's after I can't even get my words out here. I spoke too soon about the wet mouth situation. Well, why should that? Oh Jesus, that is horrible. Like, that's getting poured. The Slick Rick the other week also got poured down the sink. That also will get poured down the sink. But yeah, I don't understand this incel movement. Have you just tried, I don't know, speaking to a girl or something? Or, I don't know, maybe stop talking about how much you hate women? Or just have a wank? Do you know what I mean? Like, if you hate women so much, what are you wanking over? Or are you so, incel that you don't wank at all? I find that because if you're doing that, just trust me on this one, have a wank, and I promise you it'll be okay. You'll maybe be like, oh, maybe, life isn't that bad. Maybe I don't need to talk about how much I hate women. Just have a wank instead, mate. And I'm sure eventually, I don't know, you might get someone to try to give you a ride. I don't know. Or just fucking stop being weirdos. Put the PlayStation controller down and go out and ride. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I'm no Casanova myself, but I've had my fair share of fucking ridings. Do you know what I mean? I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm telling you this. You don't need to hate women. This is just advice for any incels. Not that they'll be watching this, but if they are, heed my words. And that's that for the incels. I have been watching a lot of Yellowstone recently. I'm on like the second series. I think I spoke to Kieran about this last week, and don't get me wrong, it's an easy watch. It's good. But it's not The Sopranos, like, do you know what I mean? It's not The Wire. And I think the main difference with TV programs like that is whenever I watch The Sopranos or The Wire, I'm like, fuck, I'd love to, like, put myself in that environment just to see what it feels like. I look at Yellowstone and I'm like, oh, this is a bit fucking, I don't know, cheesy, corny, or something. Like, if I'm watching films or TV series like set in medieval times or something, or like, I'll give you an example. Like, I was playing this game called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Speaking of incels, here's some incel chat. I was playing this game called Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and it's set in medieval Prague, which I believe was called Bohemia at the time, during the reign of King Sigismund, who had overthrown King Wenceslas, and that's when the game set. And I was walking about a city in it called Kuttenberg, and I was talking to my friend at the time when we were playing it, and I was like, I would love to just be able to just go back and like see what it's like to like be there or something. Was it because you could pay 30 gold coins to go and get your hole in a bathhouse and get a shower and then eat loads of meat? Maybe. All they're doing is eating salami and getting, prostitutes to give them a shower and ride them. It sounds like not a bad life, if you ask me. There is obviously the side effect of you die when you're 30. In most cases, if you live to 35, you're considered a pensioner. But it would be nice to see just for a day. But I was getting that sort of vibe, like I wanted to, put myself in that sort of scenario or like timeline just to see what it's like. I watch Yellowstone and I think, obviously Yellowstone's the modern day, but it's like, so was The Sopranos, to an extent. I don't want to be in fucking Montana riding horses. I just don't have an interest in it. You know what I mean? And it's so, I don't understand what the whole fucking thing is about it. Like the whole, what is a ranch? Because you see farmers here who have land, they don't get on like this. Like in Yellowstone, they're riding horses, moving cattle. There has to be easier ways to do things. It's the 21st century. You know what I mean? There are cars that drive themselves. There is no way there's any work that you need to be doing on a horse in this day and age that someone else, like something like a robot, or I don't know, there must be like an app or something that you can get to fucking move your horses. That cannot be the only way to go around things. What else have I got? So I actually wrote a line here saying, things I don't understand about Yellowstone. The cowboys. Also, all the cowboys that are in the program live in a bunkhouse, and that's all they do. They live in the bunkhouse. They go to work, and like there has to be some sort of, I don't know, working laws around this. Like, why do they all just live in this bunkhouse? You know, they're all like grown men in their 30s and 40s living in bunk beds. How do you wank? Let's be honest. It does seem a bit gay to be living in a bunk beds with other grown men when none of you have children. There has to be something up there. I don't get it. And all they do is work on a farm all day on horses, and the lines in it. Oh my god, they're so cheesy. And they're like, "You don't know what it takes to be a cowboy." It's like, well, all right, mate. I've got GCSEs. I don't fucking think I need to know what it takes to be a cowboy. You know, just why did you not just stay on in school? You know what I mean? Even doing an apprenticeship or something, you don't need to be fucking yeehawing and fucking lassoing cattle and stuff like that. Technology. Why the fuck are there no tractors? I'm in the second season and I haven't seen a single tractor in this program. They've got a helicopter. Okay, they've got fucking about 47 properties on this estate, this ranch, but they don't have a fucking tractor. Why? Am I missing something here in farming? Are tractors only used for one thing, and that's to do with crops or something? I feel like even if you're a cow farmer, you probably have a tractor. You look at fucking the cultures out here, tractors coming out of their fucking ears. What is it with all the tractors? Why are there none? I've seen helicopters. I've seen fucking 4x. They're always driving these big ridiculous trucks, and they've got burrs. You know, why do you not have a tractor? There's no technology. They're just on horses. I feel like they're maybe doing themselves out of a lot of work. You know what I mean? You might not need all these grown men living in bunk beds in your house if you had some tractors or like other technology. They all have smartphones. They all have fucking laptops, but they don't have no tractors. And to me, you tell me a farmer, I immediately think of some cunt on a tractor. You know the way they bounce up and down the road on a country lane? I think of that. Not fucking yeehaw. You don't know what it takes to be a cowboy. These mountains, I was born in this valley. I'll die in this valley. Why? It's never that serious. And then there's the Native Americans. Oh, don't get me started on these fucking Native Americans. So, there is the undertone in the program about how, you know, European colonizers went over to America and they, you know, did awful things to Native Americans. And wah. The Native Americans were so far behind. I'm gonna sound like a full blown Nazi here potentially. The Native Americans were so far behind the rest of the world. Like all of America was, the whole continent. And that's, you know, that's because I googled this last night in preparation for the podcast. The reason is there were so many different, I don't want to say biomes because that sounds like something out of Minecraft. So many different like terrains to traverse, you know, up and down those continents, America and South America. That what do you call it? Technologies didn't travel. So like something that would have taken, you know, a couple, maybe you know, a couple of years maybe, the travel between England and France during the same time period would have taken hundreds of years to, you know, develop in one country and move its way down those continents. So that's why they were so far behind. And they talk about it in the program like this is our land, and like you're like the people in the program are like in their 20s, and they're like, oh, I know what the white man did to our families. It's like you weren't fucking there. This is like in the 1400s. Why are you that arsed? And I know people are going to be like, oh, well, it's the same what the British did in Ireland. That's different because it just is. I'm not going to go into it. It is different. And these fucking, and they're like, oh, they've got casinos. The Native Americans have casinos everywhere apparently. So what the fuck are they crying about? That's my take from Yellowstone. The Native Americans are doing my head in. There's no fucking tractors, and all the cowboys in it are gay as fuck. That's my 3 takeaways from Yellowstone. Am I going to keep watching it? Yeah, I am probably. What I was saying as well about whenever I watch programs, I want to be immersed in that. I always get it with Japan, ancient, it's actually called feudal Japan. I would have loved to have been like gone back to like when the Portuguese first went to Japan, because the Portuguese are the Europeans who discovered it. And there's the program Shogun, but also Martin Scorsese's film Silence about the priests in Japan at the time. It just looks very interesting. And the other day I found myself in work, I'm fascinated by Japanese culture, but not in the fucking weird anime way. It's just that I find it so different because it's it's just the mental part of the world, and their whole history and everything's interesting as fuck. Uh, I was looking up in work the other day because I was bored. The Yakuza, who are it's not an individual organization or a gang. I am aware this podcast has turned into just me talking about shit that I find interesting. I'm not actually a comedy podcast, so sorry. But this is, I needed to tell someone about this. No one else will listen. So the Yakuza isn't actually one singular gang. It's like the mafia. The mafia isn't a gang itself. It's an organization made up of a load of different organizations, like families. In the mafia's case, in the Yakuza, it's similar. It's families. But I was looking on the typical things about Yakuza, and if you know anything about Yakuza, the main thing you know is you identify Yakuza by their tattoos. And if you know anything about Japan, they don't like tattoos because they associate that with Yakuza. But what you didn't know, though, is the Yakuza were these wee fucking G-strings, right? It's a wee cloth they put around their cock and balls and they tie it around their neck. And there's a Japanese phrase, I don't know what it is because I don't speak Japanese, but it literally translates to tighten your loincloth, which also in English is where we get pull up your socks. So there's a little fun fact for you. But they wear these wee fucking loincloths. And it's like the traditional. That's how you identify a Yakuza. See if you are around a Yakuza member who's down to his loincloth, you're already dead. Do you know what I mean? I think by that point you've pretty sussed out that this guy's Yakuza and he's gonna kill you, and maybe your whole family. That's probably it, to be honest. That's 45 minutes again we've put in this week. I won't. I'm not gonna say if we've got a guest next week because I don't know if we'll have a guest next week. If you've enjoyed this podcast, obviously, give us a comment, give us a like. I forgot that we were doing the questions. I haven't got a question for this week. If anyone would like to submit a question, I would actively encourage it to give me something else to speak about. Because I'll be honest, these beers are running out and I'm running out of things to talk about. But I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. As always, I've got those gigs coming up that I mentioned at the start. Spotify, YouTube, Instagram. If you're listening to this, you probably already have me on all three of those things. But if you don't, Matthew.dinsmore.comedy at Instagram, Kitchen Talk Podcast on Spotify and YouTube. And yes, I hope you all have a lovely week. I hope you all had a good week, good Easter, you fucking cunts. And I'll see you next week for more Kitchen Talk.